PowerPoint presentation would use it for nothing. That way we just pop to nothing.
I think I will change. When you get old, you get stuck in your ways.
I know where I belong, either.
I know.
I'm way over here in the corner. Let's see if you notice.
Actually. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I had place. Heavenly Father, thank you for this new day, this new year. Thank you for entering into. Thank you for an opportunity to come together and serve you, serve each other, this community. Pray that you guide these proceedings, guide our discussions, help us to do you honor and glory, best of our ability with your guiding. Thank you for this great country of ours. Pray you bless on us. Those who help keep us safe. In your holy name we pray these things, Lord. Amen.
Okay, did everybody have an opportunity to read the minutes? Any corrections or additions, or a motion to accept them as written? And a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. The minutes are accepted as written. I have no announcements. Jennifer, you seen anybody? No? All right. Would you swear in the witnesses? If anybody here is going to testify tonight, they need to be sworn in. So would you please stand to be sworn in? Okay, we'll move right along then to the first case, case 19-005671. Anna?
It's me again.
They never do.
All right, this is case 19-005671, property owner Jamie Vanhouten. We received a complaint on August 2nd, 2019, and the complaint was bringing in debris and depositing on a property. Arrow, down, up. Enter. Oh. difficulties, I'm sorry. The parcel number for this property is 10-1 North -18 -08000-005 -0120. The location of this is off of Rock Hill Road onto McKinnon Bridge Road. This is on the north side of Rock Hill Road. Land use is rural residential, and it is zoned large-scale agriculture. The primary uses on this property that are allowed is extractive use, meaning pulling the dirt or something out of it, or communication towers. You have to get appropriate permits for all of that. The complaint came in on August 2nd. I went out on August 2nd to do my first inspection. The property is wooded, and you really can't see onto the interior of the property from the road. It is posted with no trespassing signs. But previously, it was an approved, I don't know what you call it, when you pull dirt off the site. Is that a what? Borrow pit, yes, yes.
I need some dirt.
So on August the 8th, well, on the date that I did my first inspection, one of the trucks that were delivering the trash and debris on the property was leaving the property. And the property owner, Mr. Jamie Vanhouten, he introduced himself, and I told him why I was there. And he did tell me he had DEP permits for the site, and I discussed with him that I would need copies of that, and that we'd have to look into what kind of permits he'd need from the county. Then on August the 8th, the planning department, I had discussion with them, and they said for the activity that he had going on as far as depositing refuse, I guess you call it, onto the property, a development order would be required. So on August the 8th, I sent him a notice of violation by certified mail with 10 days to correct the violations by applying for permits, and I sent it to the address according to Florida Sunbiz. On September the 6th, the notice of violation was returned unclaimed and unable to forward. On August 22nd, which is before I received the letter back, I received information from DEP by email, and they gave me a verification of the permit for the yard trash recycling facility that Mr. Vanhouten had applied for. The application date was May 28th, 2019, with an approval date of June 4th, 2019. So he did have the appropriate permits through the state. And then during the time from September 5th through November the 4th, I was out on extended medical leave. So between the end of August and then the 1st of December, the case just kind of waited, and he would have had time to do all of his permitting and application. So on December the 11th, a reinspection revealed that no permit application or contact from Mr. Vanhouten had been received. So I sent a notice of violation and notice of hearing, certified mail for this hearing dated today to the address listed for Mr. Vanhouten as the registered agent as listed on Florida Sunbiz, which is the previous address I had sent to that the mail came back. Since the original notice of violation that was sent to the address was returned unclaimed, I took an extra effort to notify and On the Florida Sunbiz, it listed an authorized member of Lori A. Vanhouten at a second address. There was a post office box listed on the DEP permit for Mr. Vanhouten. I sent a notice there. Also, the property in violation was posted with a notice of hearing, and the notice was, excuse me, posted at the South Walton Courthouse Annex. Photos were taken, and a notarized affidavit of service was completed for those postings. And then on December 11th, these are the notice of hearings that were sent, and received a signed return receipt from the Lori Vanhouten. Today, I have done a re-inspection. These are the pictures from a neighboring property. They gave me access to the backside, and they stated that trucks are delivering these piles late at night around 10:30 and 11 o'clock. So as of now, the property remains in violation of Land Development Codes 1.0701, Development Order Required, and 4.00.01, Resource Protection Permits Required. My recommendations are that the board recognize that the property is located on McKinnon Bridge Road, parcel ID 10-1 North-18-000-005-120 is located within the unincorporated area of Walton County and subject to the Walton County Code of Ordinances. That proper notice of hearing, excuse me, was given to the respondent, that a violation of the Walton County Land Development Code sections 1.07.01 and 4.00.01 exists on the property, that the respondent is to correct the violations within 30 days of the date of this order. The respondent is further ordered to contact the Walton County Code Enforcement Department to arrange for reinspection of the property to verify compliance with this order. That if the respondent fails to comply with the above actions or fails to bring the property into compliance with the applicable codes, ordinances, and regulations according to this order, the board assess a fine of $250 per day per violation until the property is brought into compliance.
Okay, anybody have questions for Ms. Reichert?
So to come into compliance, all he would need is the development.
Yes, but planning department says as large-scale ag, he would have to get it rezoned because it doesn't allow for the depositing onto. And so according to the planner I discussed it with, they said that probably is not going to get approved. So ultimately, he will probably be required to remove all of the deposits that he's put on that property.
You doing this for commercial?
Yes.
Charging money?
Yes.
The state doesn't ask the county, they go ahead and issue the permit?
We require that they get state permits if it's an activity that's approved through us. But I guess sometimes the cart comes before the horse.
Most of the time, or at least that they require a letter from the county stating that it's private. So I don't know why this is. So, all right, so by all assessments from the planning department permits, I think.
He can go through that process. It will cost him, some money to go through the process, but it's large-scale ag. That might be a question. Let's see here. I don't know right off the top of my head. I really don't. I'm going to say,
There we
I
go.
was going to say 5.
6 acres?
It's
You say 6?
I don't know. I'm not in charge of zoning.
Are there other properties around it, houses? or what's around the?
There's a house on the south side of the property. To the north, it's an empty wooded lot, and then just above that is actually the county dirt borrow pit.
So there's no other ag?
Well, it might all be zoned ag. I didn't look all of those up. But, let's see. I was trying to go back to the parcel picture, and you can see some of the. But from the overhead view, you can see the county borrow. Well, you really can't throw in the picture because I cut it off. I'm sorry. I thought I was going to show you that, but it's not on there.
Is that gun range posted there that we've been having beating strike
I don't believe it's close. Mm-mm.
in that area?
This property is on McKinnon Bridge, which is about, I'm going to say 8 to 10 miles from 331. And then that gun range is closer to.
Closer to Red Bay Road.
And who in the planning department made the determination that he can't get a permit?
Well, they didn't say he can't. They said the likelihood is small.
Said that.
Bob Barante, I believe he's a senior planner.
Hold on just a sec. I'll give you plenty of opportunity to talk, okay?
Is there extraction being done also? Or is he just
I
piling
don't
it
believe
all
so,
up?
no.
So he's
And
just piling it
extraction
up.
would be allowed. I think you'd have to still get a permit or two or something to reopen that, get it approved. But the depositing on there is not allowed.
What zoning would be appropriate?
I think they told Mr. Vanhouten all of that, but I don't know.
Okay, well, if we're done with Ms. Reichert, I'll get to Mr. Van Houten. Okay, so I'll accept Ms. Reichert's evidence and presentation into evidence, or into the record. And now, Mr. Van Houten, would you like to come up here to the podium and tell us about, you were sworn in, right? Yeah.
Good evening, Board. Good evening, Chairman Stein. I'm Jameson Van Houten, Vanhouten. I purchased this property. I'm in the landscape business, had plans of depositing green waste, turning it into topsoil, removing the topsoil. I've put it in the middle of the property. It's my recreation property for my family, and that's all I do there. That was my intentions, and I ended up having my own health issues. I was out for a few months. I had major surgeries, and the end of last year was not the best for me, and I fell short many times on more than just this, and I apologize. This paperwork should have been done, and I should have known what was going on months ago, and I tried to get started, and I fell short, so I apologize. I'm a sole proprietor. I'm a owner-operator. I've brought every bit of that myself. Myself, it's my business. It's me by myself. So I'm not trying to do anything else. I'm not trying to have a big mess out there. I enjoy the property. Been in the area a long time. My family's been here since the 70s. I have no reason to want to hurt the environment. And I apologize for taking the wrong steps, and I need to know what we need to do it right and get it headed in the right direction. If you think I should abandon this and get a different piece of property to do what I do, but what I work with is landscape debris, which breaks down into topsoil. At the point you could put cow manure, chicken poop on it, and cover it in plastic, and it would break into compost. The state was happy to see I was recycling. The debris is keeping my sand from going down into the next property. I cleaned it all up with my machines, leveled it all out all pretty. In the first rain, everything I touched washed down. So I actually built a border and there's dirt there, the water's going by and it's not taking the sand out. So I'm actually containing my property to itself. I've got some of it done. There's still sand leaving the property because it's on one end's about 225 feet, the other end's about 165 feet. They've cut the whole property over 10, 12 feet. It's 15-foot cuts. The property cannot regenerate itself. So it's just a clay pit that is dug too deep to regenerate itself. I thought I was doing some good, and like I said, I apologize. This is not what I was going for here.
Why did you apply for the state permit?
Because he showed up to the property, and I called him and contacted him, and we walked the property, and he took pictures. We did everything we needed to. That was before I was hospitalized. I got that taken care of, and the code enforcement got pushed to the side, and that's my fault.
But when you applied for the state permit, you told him what you were going to do, that you were hoping to bring in
Yes,
organic debris and let it rot?
yes.
And it's only organic debris.
Solely.
You're not depositing like concrete.
No, and it's not, no, and it's not land clearing debris either. It's not trees and stumps. It's branches, pine cones, bushes, grass, sod. It's
Landscape maintenance
It's
stuff,
all
yeah.
landscape. You rip every landscape out and put a new one in. We're bringing in plants, flowers. It's all organic and it is breaking down, and I've got black soil.
Can I ask why you're operating so late at night, 10 and 11 o'clock?
I work all day and I work all night.
I meant to ask Officer Riker, but is that part of, has there been disturbance from the operations that?
No, I haven't heard any complaints. The neighbor just commented on it when I asked her if I had permission to go out there and take pictures. She thought it was odd that they were bringing it out that late, but
There's only so many hours in the day. I work all day. That's all I do.
Gentlemen, any other questions? It's been interesting.
Have you
Would you-
taken any measures to apply for a development order?
Yes.
Have put the application in?
Yes, this morning, I had a 10 o'clock meeting with Bob, and he said it was about a 50-50 shot. It wasn't promising that this would go through. He thought it may be a waste of me trying. But for me and what I see it as a good thing. And I'm willing to take the steps to make it the way I could use it.
All right.
Okay.
So you have applied for the development.
And you intend to follow through with that?
Yes.
Any other questions? If not, I'll close the public part of the hearing, and we'll decide what to do. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I will accept Mr. Vanhouten's testimony into evidence. Well, it's an interesting one. Me too.
You might want to hang around and see what we
Yeah.
figure out.
Well, it seems like the logical thing to do is let him go through the process.
I mean,
Yeah.
it was just a side comment that
Yeah.
what he's describing to me, whether or not it's explicitly delineated as an allowable use under general agriculture, it sounds pretty agricultural to me.
It is, not on general agriculture, large scale, you can't really have large scale on that many acres.
On 6 acres.
Wouldn't be feasible.
Let's give him whatever we need to do, let him go through the process.
He could also apply to change the land use, right?
And that.
Be perfect.
Yeah. Okay. All right, well, somebody want to make a motion then?
Make the motion and we get 60 days to go through the process.
And if he doesn't comply, then she said $250 a day per violation. There are 2 violations. That's $500. I didn't know. At this point, turn to Renee and ask that question. Okay.
I know, that's what.
But since Renee's not here.
I would be inclined, give him the 60 days, let's stay the
the fine.
Fine, but he needs to come back, if he can get the permit, then great, if not, he needs to come back before.
Okay,
Then we evaluate.
right. So just what you said then, we'll give him 60 days and then, all right, a second? Any more discussion? All in favor or opposed? All right, you got 60 days, see what you can do. If you're in the process and you didn't quite finish, but it looks like there's success ahead, you can come back and talk to us again.
Is your health back in order? I mean, you'd be able to go for it, tackle it? All right.
Okay, all right, thank you.
We can't recommend
No, I'm right there with you, but that they changed the law, that, hey,
have to get variance, whatever it is.
I don't think,
Seems like they have to play.
they aren't gonna listen to us. Okay, second case, 1902-680. Who's gonna do this one? Miss Reichert? You need to get a more competent tech guy there.
Oh, yeah, it hurt, didn't it?
Yeah, a little bit. Bit.
What do you think this date guy would have along, wouldn't you? Yeah. Yeah, I know. We're right now applying for that, and the guy who's working for me, who's gonna do it, he has to spend 6:30 till 6:30 at night next Wednesday to be certified enough to fill out the application.
Good evening, board members. I'm presenting case 19-002680. For the record, this is property owner King Lake Landing Incorporated in care of Robert D. Permenter, the registered agent. On April 17th, 2019, we received complaints regarding, it was a structure in the right-of-way. Location is north of Highway 90, towards the Mossy Head area, and that's Watson Road. There's not an address yet because it's a unimproved property. Land use is rural residential. An accessory structure is allowed with an existing primary structure. Is a single-family residential with the normal setbacks. Research revealed there were no permits issued for any type of buildings on this parcel. Oh, give it a second, okay. The first inspection was held on April the 17th. When I got there, it was a she shed, or what do you want to call those little sheds now that they're putting on properties? And it was within the right-of-way, only about 10 feet off of the road. There it is. Also, on that date, I observed, looks like a van or something covered with a tarp, some other debris on the property, and a porta potty. Between April the 17th and April 25th, I received information from the planning department that I guess the tenant had been into planning department trying to get permits that she needed to get. On the 25th, inspection revealed the shed was moved from the right-of-way onto the parcel itself, but no permits had been issued at that time for any building permits. So on June 3rd, a notice of violation was sent certified mail to the property owner, as shown on the property appraiser's website, with a return receipt signed and returned. In between the date of June and December the 12th, I was out on extended medical leave. So a re-inspection on December the 12th revealed the structure remained in place. No permits had been applied for, and there was junk and debris scattered about the property. So on December the 12th, 2019, sent the notice of hearing, certified mail, return receipt for the code board hearing for tonight. Return receipt was signed and returned. As of this morning, that's the wrong date, January 16th, 2020, a reinspection revealed the van is still there. I don't know if it runs or not. The building remains on the site and scattered junk and debris. So the property remains in violation of Land Development Code Sections 1.13.00 Development Order, 2.02.00B1A Accessory Structures, 7.02.01A Junk and Litter Prohibited Conditions.
Before you go any further, that last slide, was that a license plate on that van?
I don't think so.
I don't believe that's a license plate. I think it's just a reflection. So my recommendations, the board please find that the property listed as parcel number 18-3 North-2080-002-002-0010 on Watson Road is located within the unincorporated area of Walton County and subject to the Walton County Code of Ordinances. Also find that proper notice of hearing was provided to the respondent, that a violation of the Walton County Land Development Code Sections 1.13.00 and 2.02.00B1A do exist on the property, that the respondent is to correct the violations within 30 days of the date of this order. The respondent is further ordered to contact the Walton County Code Enforcement Department to arrange for a reinspection of subject property to verify compliance with this order. And if the respondent fails to comply with the above actions or fails to bring the property into compliance with applicable codes, ordinances, and regulations according to this order, that the board assess a fine of $250 per day per violation until the property is brought into compliance.
And who did you send the information to Robert Permenter?
Yes, the property, the area this is in is a largely owned by King Lake Landing. I guess it's a real estate company, and they sell or lease separate parcels, I guess rent-to-own type thing. So it's not currently in the tenant's name. It is in King Lake Landing.
He's the one going to get the fine if...
Yes.
There's a lot of that land, I'll tell you about that land, there's a lot of that land that, Ponce Petroleum owns, I bought some of it from him too. But, Permenter bought it, Dr. Permenter bought it, got the whole contract for the rest of it that's left, about 1,800 acres, several thousand acres. And he got, what he does, he sells it with a contract for deed, so they can't get a deed if they pay for the land, so, I don't know how you, he's got, the Permitter's got an office out there on Larry Road. You might contact them and
They know about this situation, yes.
a lot of people try to get, they can't, they had a contract for deed and they wouldn't allow them. He has to pay them off there before we get things. It's really a mess.
Of his own making, of his own making.
So, yeah, Permitter's gonna bite this bullet. Yeah, he eventually will, because the tenant there is just, does not have a deed to that land. You got a contract.
Correct.
Other questions for Officer Reichert? If not, I'll accept her testimony and evidence into the record. Is there anybody here?
Well, I did have one quick.
What?
the shed, the she shed, as you call it, was there, then it was gone, then it came back again?
No, it was on the right of way and then they moved it.
I guess the company that delivered it just dropped it off beside the road. And then we left a notice on the door. And then a couple weeks, it was moved onto the property.
Okay? All right, is there someone here to speak?
I believe this is the tenant.
I am Marilyn J. Slothauer. I'm half deaf and I'm a veteran. In honor of all of you, I don't know all of your name. I've never been through this before, so I don't know what is all asked for me. But I do have a permit for the building. I did clean up a lot more and I removed it, but I had a friend with a truck. He had a heart attack, and I had to wait for him to get well before I can use the truck again. So that kind of delayed me. And then I wasn't working for 2 months. And now I'm back to work and trying to get up and to clean everything on up and finish what I started. And I don't know all your rules and regulations and whatever, but I'm not trying to be ugly or anything like that. But when you're just limited to time, limited to money, limit to a lot of things in a time period, and then you're trying to correct it once you do get back on your feet. And I'm trying to do it the best I can. I already went to, and I've been to the planning and zoning area. I do have a permit. I've been to the gentleman, Billy, I don't know. Bearden. And he gave me a plan, whatever, to help me with the cabin. And I'm going to make it into a mini house, and that's what they're helping for me, and I've been approved to do that. The building that you call a van is an RV. It's an antique, old RV, which a lot of people that I let stay in and damaged it a lot. So I'm trying to find a way to get it fixed, and I'm waiting after my taxes are here. So the van will look a lot better and be removed and put it in there, and possibly I can put it up for sale and get the money to be able to work what I need to do with the cabin and the rest of the land.
Do you live in the house now?
Do what?
Do you live in the house now? Do you live in the cabin?
I live in the cabin, but I kind of resided to the RV because I'm trying to fix it. You can't live in something that you're trying to fix, if that makes sense. You got to put this in, you got to put that in, and you got to have the money to do such. So I don't stay in it right now temporarily. I stay in the RV, and that's a temporary thing. And I also have a van that I can possibly, substitute a place to sleep. All three places I can sleep in all of three if need to. But I lived in that cabin for 3 years in Vanhouten Beach. And I had water and I had electric down there. I had to take my box down to set it down until I can get this all resituated up here. It's different up here than it is in Vanhouten. So I have to kind of start all over again. So now I'm back to work. Now I can get the money to come in, and waiting for the income tax to come in to be able to help move the process on to where I can stay in my cabin. I found out where I guess, because they told me I couldn't leave it on the county side. I wanted to clear it all off. I didn't have a chance to clear it off, so I thought it was okay to park it there temporarily and then get somebody in there to clear it all up so I could set my cabin in there properly. But since I had to move it again, they came in and they set it in there, and I guessed where I was at, and so happened I guessed pretty darn good because I'm on lot 6.
That's your lot.
Yeah, that's my lot. So I had 2 trees here, 2 trees here. I thought I was on an acre land. I did not know it was a residential. So when I did not know, I just took for granted it was an acre, and it was going to be a little mini farm where I have chickens and maybe a goat and my kitties and my dogs, that kind of thing. Something small, and a garden. That's all I wanted. And I found out that I'm in a residential area, so that kind of put everything on hold. And when it got put on hold, I said, now what am I going to do? So I was about ready to sell that whole thing and look for something else out in the country that I wanted. It was a little mini farm. So when I retire, I can just spend time with me and my animals. That's all I was trying to do. But since I got here, and then when I got it off that space that I'm not supposed, the county thing, and I put it up there, I just more or less guessed where to put it. And I guess I guessed it pretty good. But not even trying, I just guessed it pretty good. It looked like a good spot to put it, and I wanted to get it off that thing there so nobody would scream at me. And Ronnie, the man that had the heart attack, he was gracious enough that I was able to load all of my trash bags and then the wicker stuff that they gave me in for one that I didn't want, but they gave it to me anyway. I got rid of all of that. That was done, and I had planned to do it on a Tuesday, my day off, and so I can get with him and get it all done, and then he takes me up to the Wayside place up here off of 85, and I cleaned it all up. But I got put on a hold because he had a heart attack, and I had to watch his house and his 2 dogs.
Okay.
And then when he got better, then that's when I had plans to do, and everybody just kind of crimps my style in trying to get there.
Does anybody have any questions? Yeah.
Like apples and oranges. I thought we were dealing here with Parment. He's the owner. He's on the top. He's the tenant. Not even listed on the complaint as part of the house.
Yeah, it's an interesting situation. He's the guy going to pay the fine if she doesn't comply.
And he
But I suspect he'll
Property
somehow
owner
put it back to her.
So that's,
A tenant?
yeah,
I don't have a tenant, just me.
you don't have property outright. You have a contract for deed, correct?
Oh, so that's what
Oh.
they mean?
Yes.
Right.
Yes. So the property owner currently is the other company.
Permitter's office did contact us, and they said they're doing a contract for deed, and so then it'll be in her name. That'll be soon, I guess.
But right now, it's in his name.
Correct, and they understand that. I made sure he understood it, that at this point, he's,
He's just passing the problem on.
What does, Anna, what does she need to do to come into compliance?
she needs all the permits.
She said she has permits, but I don't know what
I
permits.
don't
she's
believe,
required.
she's in the process of getting everything together, but she doesn't have everything, so
But she needs to own the property.
No.
Well, let me go with this for a minute. I understand where your point. So she's got permits. She said twice she had permits for something.
I don't think the permit is from the county. It's probably the building she bought. She's got some type of paperwork showing she owns it, but it's not a county permit.
And the paper from Billy Bearden, what's that?
I do not know. I haven't seen it.
It was the sketch, I think, that he helped her with so she could apply.
Yeah, and
Right.
so before she can finish the process, she's got to get an architect or an engineer to design her house that's acceptable to the building codes. So she's got to do that still. So it's a long process.
That should be with the company she bought the shed from. They should have it on file.
Yeah, but
Okay, well,
mind you, she bought it several years ago in Fort Walton. Okay.
So that shed right now, we're calling it an accessory structure? Or her
Because
cabin?
it doesn't-
Are we talking about her cabin, right?
it doesn't qualify as a living structure, so it is an accessory structure
Why is that?
because it doesn't have anything inside. No bathroom, no plumbing, no electrical.
I have a little porta potty in there. But I use the Dollar General. I use that, and I also use I've worked where I can use it, and then my neighbor let me use the shower. So I already figured out how to work things, so I'm okay on that part.
How many square feet is it, ma'am?
How many square feet is the cabin? Do you know?
It's 12 by 28. And I already got it,
So about
300. No, not even that.
Gentlemen,
I get the message from planning that it's doable. It's just time that she needs and money to do it all. But the problem is, I haven't heard from her, and planning that wasn't showing me any activity. So that's why we're here.
Mr. Rose, what is it that you have?
the thing that she was claiming to be the permit, it's actually a receipt for a BPR number. That's BPR 20112. It's for a single-family home request. It was done on 1/16/2020 that it was paid.
And
So
what
it
is
is
what is a BPR?
a BPR is a building permit review. So she has submitted an application to have it reviewed by the planning department currently, according to this.
So she started the process, but she's got a long way to go.
That is correct.
Okay.
I never did this before, so I don't know a lot of steps to take.
I understand.
Okay, can you hear me okay? Can you hear me okay? I just. Is that on or, yeah, okay, now. Anna, you just said that the planning's assessment of this situation is that what she is needing is attainable, doable?
Yes, they didn't say that specifically because a lot of it depends on her returning the required documents.
Right. Okay. And you, if we give you some more time to do it, can you assure us that you will proceed in good faith and as quickly as possible to do so? Okay.
I have a friend that's in construction and that builds and stuff that's gonna try to help me put it together.
Okay, but we understand you're not the property owner, and this ultimately goes to the property owner, but you would, I'm sure, share some of the brunt of it, even though that's not our concern directly. But, I'm just saying, I'll say what I'm thinking when we go to the discussion part, but I'm just asking for your assurance that if we do decide to put this off for a while, you would proceed expeditiously as possible. Okay.
I would love to have work real hard to get that. I just need
Okay. What's your name again? Your name? Your name. What is your name?
my name.
Yeah.
Marilyn J. Slothauer.
Spell it, will you?
Marelyn J. Slothower. Slothauer.
Okay.
This is my first time doing this, and so I just need a little chance to get it done.
Okay. I'm going to accept your testimony into evidence, and now we and the board will discuss how to handle this. Okay? Yes, and then we'll let you know. Okay. Dave, what is it you were going to say before?
No, if Anna's saying that her understanding that what she needs to do is doable, let's give her, like we did before with the previous case.
Yeah, but that's the wrinkle is that it's not her that.
Well, I understand that, but
It'll still come back
it'd
to
still
us.
come back to us, and
By then, she could have it paid off.
They won't give you a permit. Every time I go get a permit, and I've got a lot of them, you gotta show ownership of that property, that you own it. You gotta have a survey showing where you're gonna put whatever you're gonna put on it.
Far off is she from paying for it?
Well, I guess you're not even, have you made a contract for deed? yet?
Okay, this is what I know. Keen Realty talked to me yesterday, said that they went down and in the courthouse, put everything all into my name.
Okay, well, that's good.
So
Good
they
for
went
them.
ahead and
Yeah.
paid that for me because I didn't have the money
That's a
to do
step.
such at the time.
That'll work.
So, I mean, but regardless, I mean, as part of the process, if it's the owner needs to sign on with her, then that will be determined, whoever the owner is. I mean, it's still going to come out in the permitting process. Whether she owns it solely, if this contract for deed is executed and she ends up being the owner, or Penton or whatever his name is, he has to sign along with her. I mean, that's permitter, the permitter.
Well,
He has to do the signature of a permit also?
If he's the owner, I mean, that's my understanding, that he would have to at least sign with you as a co-applicant for the permit.
Oh.
If he owns the property, which he does at this point in time, from what we're hearing.
Contact them up there, at the trailer up there, you know, Laird Road.
The what?
You know where the Laird Road trailer is, where their office is, permit?
Gordon, turn your mic on.
Laird Road and 90. And that lady takes care of everything Permitter's got.
Right there in Defuniak?
No, Mussett here, going toward Preston. Go almost to the county line out there. There's a road that goes to the right, it's Laird Road. And there's a trailer sitting there that says King Lake Realty, got a big sign in front of it.
Okay,
You go talk to her, she controls everything Permitter's got in that area, always, I don't know how many, all kind of stuff he's got. She can help you get it, probably, but you'll have to have her help to get that from the county.
okay, my question is, could you please write down the address so I don't get lost?
I don't know the exact address, I know it's just the corner of Laird Road and Highway 90, Highway 90 West.
Like you're going to Crestview,
Just before you get to the county line.
Kings Realty?
You'll get it, or you'll get it.
Okay,
You'll get it.
because I don't want to go somewhere and I don't know where I'm going. I'm trying to learn this
She'll
up
take
here.
care of you, I think. She's pretty safe.
Yeah. I did.
Okay.
All right, so I guess the question is, how long do we give her and how much do we fine somebody if they don't get the permits?
My recommendation, I'd give her 90 days to clean it up.
My question is,
Okay, it's in there on those letters.
okay, why is this lady defending? When
Well,
the permitter is the guy who's in violation?
Yeah, but you know why, it's her house.
No, I don't know that.
Well, she,
Tenant on permitter's property.
with a deed, with a contract for
Gordon
deed,
says,
yeah.
you gotta own the property in order to.
They can fix that.
But-
Yeah, he can fix that contract for deed, so probably she can get a permit. You can ask. I say that lady will help her get that.
Yeah,
A lot of
they'll
people
work it
say-
out.
A lot of them lost their property because when that guy from, the guy that had it before, that owned the sand pit, his son, sold a bunch of that stuff that was on contract for deed. He didn't pay Foster, and they foreclosed on every bit of that land, and finally they made a deal with the people that had been buying it, to make arrangements to get their land back. They made some kind of deal, I don't know what it was, but it was a big scam in there, and of course, he wound up in dead somewhere, I guess, where he's never been found. Well, yeah, he bought a big yacht, remodeled it, and he went to the youth pen on it, and ain't nobody.
They never seen him
found
since?
since.
Okay,
Gamble, that was his name.
yeah, I guess so. All right, so how about a motion then, 90 days, somebody?
Yeah.
90 days?
I
And
move we give her 90 days.
And what about the fine?
Except,
It's $750 a day.
I'd say we
It is, 3 violations,
reduce
$250.
The fine,
back after
where
90
does,
days.
I
she
guess
has
this is
not
where we have
served
some
the
problems.
process.
Where does the fine
Like I
spend
did before, yeah.
It doesn't go to her.
Like I did.
No, I don't even know why we're
I
doing
guess
this.
Yeah.
come back.
The guy who-
Well, wait, no,
I've
we,
got it,
one
Tom.
guy at a time, one
I've
person.
got it, Tom.
One
I
person at a
move that
time.
we suspend the fine and have her back and give her 90 days to come into compliance with ownership and have it show us proof that the permit has been pulled.
That's a good one. I
I second that.
All right. Robert, you want to,
I'm fine with that.
you're all right with it? All right, then all those in favor? Aye. And opposed? None. Okay, you've got 90 days, 90 days from today to get a permit. Pardon? And if you're successful, that's great. We won't hear about it again. If you're not successful, you can come back and talk to us again. Okay? That's it? No? Yeah. You're gonna need it. You're gonna need it. We don't want to take it.
Thank you so very much.
Okay, certainly.
This is new to me.
All right. We're going to do one more here before we take a break. So this is going to be case number 196473. 1964. Officer Reichert, boy, you one busy person.
Reichert Show.
Yeah.
For the record, Officer Reichert, I'd like to submit my report and presentation to the board. This is case 19-006473. The estate of Doyle Watkins in care of Susan Watkins Jones, the trustee. On September the 4th, 2019, we received a complaint regarding junk and litter on the property located at 249 North Orange Street. This property is located at Inlet Beach. You can see at the top left, there is the intersection of 30A and 98. If you go further east, go north on North Orange Street. Property is rural residential. The first inspection I didn't do that, was Officer Knapp, because I was out for my medical issue. And when he went out, he noted that there was a vehicle on site with no tag, metal and wood debris, couch and furniture located on the north side of the property. 4 out of 6 previous code cases on this property for junk and debris. Officer Knapp issued a citation for junk and debris. When I came back from my medical leave, I re-inspected the property on December 23rd, 2019. I noted the unregistered vehicle and junk and debris remained on the property. December 26th, I sent a notice of violation, notice of hearing, certified mail to the property owner as shown by the property appraiser's website. The return receipt was signed. And then after that, and I forgot to put it in my notes, the property owner, the trustee, Susan Watkins Jones, called our office, and she stated that the property had been cleaned up. And I told her that because it is a repeat offense, that it was going to go ahead and come to the code board as a repeat violation. As of today, I re-inspected, and the junk and debris has been removed. The lumber and debris that was in the corner has been removed. On the north side of the property, all of that has been cleaned up. So as of today, the property remains in compliance, but is directed in LDC 7.01.03C. A repeat violation can be presented to the code board. States if the violation is identified by the code inspector as a repeat violation, a hearing before the Code Enforcement Board may be requested immediately upon the issuance of the notice of violation, and such repeat violation may be presented through the Code Board even if it has been corrected prior to the board hearing. So I'm presenting a repeat offense of 7.0201A1, no owner or occupant shall cause or permit junk litter or junked or abandoned motor vehicles to remain on any property for a period in excess of 30 days. So my recommendation to the board, that the board find the address 249 North Orange Street is located within the unincorporated area of Walton County and subject to Walton County Code of Ordinances, that proper notice of hearing was given to the respondent, that a repeat violation of LDC 7.02.01A1 occurred on the property, that the respondent is to correct the violation within 5 days of this order and to take all reasonable actions to prevent further violation of this order. If the respondent fails to comply with the above actions or fails to keep the property in compliance with the applicable codes, ordinances, and regulations, according to this order, the board assess a fine of $250 per day per violation until the property is brought back into compliance.
I don't understand. What is it that you want us to do?
Just find that this is a repeat violation, and so in the future, the fines can be assessed at higher as a repeat violation. I didn't bring the statute with me, but as a repeat, they can double the fines.
Well, you said in the presentation there, it said 4 of 6. What does it mean, 4 of 6? It's either.
In the past, we've
Yeah.
had 6 complaints on the property. All were valid complaints. 4 of them were junk and debris on the property.
What were the other 2?
He had a unpermitted accessory structure, no building permits. It was I can't remember now. It was a building of some sort that was on there.
All right, so 7.02.01A1's junk and debris. You've got A2 also. What's that?
Both of them are junk and debris. There's not really a difference between the two, so.
Okay.
And
This come before the board?
No, because he's always cleaned up the property before we brought it to the code board. But last year, we had 4 junk and debris cases that were valid complaints, which took an average of 2 months to process, notify him, get it cleaned up. Yes, sir. Yes, I believe it is. Mhm. Yes, sir. Yes.
So you're asking this in case the junk and debris reappear, then the fine.
Can be increased to double.
Increased or?
it can be
or-
500.
Or imposed immediately or both?
I have to get clarification on, because
That's
this is
what
like the
I-
first time we've had a repeat,
Right.
At this point, he's in compliance, but, again, in 2 months, we'll be back out there with.
Well, that's my point. I mean, yeah.
Oh, okay. He can give us.
So according to Florida Statute 162, in order to have a repeat violation, we need to have the board order that there was a violation in the first place. Once that is established and it is corrected, if that same violation, junk and debris, happens again on the same property, it becomes a repeat violation. Instead of sending a notice of violation and going through the whole process, we can immediately issue a notice of hearing and bring them directly before the board for an assessment of a higher fine.
That's
Well,
what
was
my
there,
question was.
but the question is, has there been a violation if they cleaned it up by tonight's hearing?
The violation still existed on the property. It was cleaned up. However, this process still made it this far. So you can still determine that if there was a violation, even though it has been cleaned up based on the evidence. That's entirely up to you.
Okay.
There's a violation that's been corrected.
Yeah, okay. All right, is there any, well, I accept Officer Reichert's testimony and evidence into the record. Is there anyone on the other side who's, yes, sir? Would you come up, introduce yourself, and tell us your side of this?
My name's Lance Johnson. I'm
property maintenance guy, manager. I used to live in the house beside the property that's in question tonight. When I moved out of the property beside where I'm living now, I was contacted by the owner, Miss Susan Watkins, and she wanted to know what to do with the property. I said, you need to rent it because it's falling apart. If you don't get somebody in there living in it, the place is just gonna go to heck. Because it's the heating and cooling, nothing's running for 10 years, it sat. So it was a wreck. And she said, well, I don't know anybody that I'd trust to rent the place. So at the time, I was needing a place to live, so I offered to rent the place from her, and I'd fix it up and clean it up. And I have done that. I mean, the grass was over my head when I first got there, and door was off. I've done a ton of work to the place. And, you know, me working like I do, it's not handy for me to live in that area right now because I'm all over the place. And my other half is on the other side of town, so I don't get to that property a lot. I didn't even know you had trash service out there for a long time. And that's free once you pay your water bill. Basically, I got told that I had junk and debris there, and I didn't know what junk and debris they're talking about. I didn't know anything about the car being an issue until I got here tonight. I have no idea, okay? I don't know the rules to Walton County's landowner process here. If there's a problem, I'll be happy to fix it. But I've been harassed big time by that area and those people for some unknown reason. I have been, a 4 or 5 2x4s laying on the ground isn't junk and debris. I don't understand what the big issue is. I was told about the tarp being over the one stack of lumber, that it was fine, don't worry about it, everything looks good. And Anna is the one that told me everything was fine. But after 2 or 3 months, the tarp rotted and looked like heck. Well, I, finally went out and cleaned it up. I didn't know it was that big an issue. I don't know anything about repeated offenses here. I was contacted once, no, twice. The second time I got a ticket for $100. So I don't know.
A ticket.
Well, the guy issued me a ticket and I got to pay $100 or something.
Sir,
Who?
are you consider yourself a property manager for this property?
No, I'm the leaser. I'm the leaseor.
You're living in it,
I'm living in it, yes.
You're living in the property now?
Yes,
You just said that you don't get there often.
that's true.
I don't understand.
I live in Lynn Haven a lot of times with my girlfriend.
but it's,
I don't want to give up my manlyhood, I'm not moving in with her, that's her place, I got my own place.
But you don't go to your own place.
No, I don't. Not
but you
much.
paid the electric bill there.
Yes, I do, somewhat.
Okay. You get mail there, that's your.
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay, and you're the guy that cleaned it up so that tonight it's not a violation. And, but it's owned, you're just the tenant. Do you pay this lady rent?
Yes, I do.
Well, this is like the last one. I know it. Yeah, right? You're,
Well, I think you need to be notified too. I think
She
we
will be.
have to tell Ms. Jones that you're not taking care of your rental property.
Okay, well, I don't see a problem with that from this point on. I got it cleaned up and I'm not gonna bring anything over there and cause any more issues. Everything that was and can be an issue is out of there completely.
No, sir. 4 cases last year.
It was, yeah, but it was for the same thing from 4 different people.
You live in different people.
I live there too. I live there. I'm the one that lived there in the last 10, 15 years.
So the debris was all yours.
No. I mean, the debris was all mine, but when I got there, the place was a wreck. I mean, no, I got there, 4 years ago, I guess? Yeah.
Well, you
Been
understand
living in the
that,
area for 7 years, and then I moved out, and then I came back when Susan offered me the place.
Who's the 4 citations you go to?
Who the, I didn't get 4 complaints. It was 4 complaints for the same issue. I guess 4 people call, and that's each time everybody calls, that's a complaint.
yeah, but Anna,
4 complaints for one issue.
do those complaints go to the Susan Watkins?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So he had a good excuse of not knowing because he went to his landlady. All right.
Yeah,
Any more
but I
questions?
mean, we've got to presume that the landlady and tenant at least communicate. I mean, it's kind of like ignorance of the law is not a defense for violation of the law. So, I
Right.
mean,
Well, do we have more questions for him? If not, we'll close the public part.
you do understand that, right? The
Do
fact
understand.
that you're not there
Do you understand that?
regularly is not a defense for there being a violation, correct?
I understand, but I thought I only had one violation. I didn't know
Well,
there was four different
I
violations.
can only go by what Officer Reichert's saying.
All right.
There's four. If
That's
it was
fine.
four
That's
complaints of
fine.
the same violation, then one violation's all really it takes to be there for there to be a repeat violation once the second one comes up.
All right.
Okay, sir, your name again?
Lance Johnson.
Lance Johnson? Okay. Well, Mr. Johnson, I'm going to accept what you've given us into evidence, and I'm going to close the public part of the hearing, and we'll discuss it ourselves.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Same situation as last time, right?
I think that, you know, in my opinion, we're just, looking to see if there was a violation. I would sort of accept what Officer Riker's saying. Just go ahead and accept that
Right.
and move on.
needs to understand that she's gonna have to pay attention.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Accept Officer Riker, you may make a motion.
Yeah, why don't you do that?
I move that we accept Officer Riker's motion and it be so carried.
Second the motion.
All right. Is that clear enough, do you think, that your recommendation is?
I'll amend
That-
it to accept her recommendation as
Okay.
so ordered.
And her recommendation then is to find that this is a repeat violation.
Yes, it is
And-
a
and-
repeat violator
But
offender.
no fine will be levied at this point, but should it occur again, it would be a
If it
repeat
occurs
violation.
again,
All right, all those,
the leverage, yes, but
Okay.
no fine currently.
okay,
Got that,
that
Jennifer?
clear everyone? And Jennifer, I guess I'm asking you, is that clear enough for the motion? Okay, all those in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? The motion carries. So you understand what happened? Don't do it again. Okay. Do you guys want to take a break? Do you want to keep going? You're good to go? Everybody good to go? Okay, well, right on. Case number 4. Is this you, Mr. Rose? No, Officer Riker.
Officer Riker.
Get rid of the rest of those guys. You don't need them.
Making her work too hard.
Tech support currently.
Tech support. Okay, this will be case number 19-00-4101.
Okay. Try this one more time. For the record, Officer Reichert, I'm presenting case 19-004101 for the record. Property owners are Harry K. and Lillian Smith. We received a complaint on June the 5th of 2019 regarding structures being built on the property. The property is located north of Highway 98 on Mussett Bayou Road. And if anyone wants a reference point, at the lower left-hand corner of 98 and Mussett is that restaurant Louis Louise. So that's the reference point for that. The land use is conservation residential. An accessory structure is allowed with an existing primary structure. It has regular setbacks. Research on this property revealed there were no permits issued through the building department for the structures. First inspection, June 6, 2019, shows construction of a temporary structure with tarps, tables, junk. And my first impression of this, it looks like a future flea market location. The other structure is a small carport, and it's located just to the left side, the north side of this other, the other structure. Also, there was junk and debris thrown off to the side of the property there. So on July the 24th, I sent a notice of violation certified mail to the property owner listed on the property appraiser website, and the receipt, the return receipt was signed and returned to our office. Reinspection on August 15th, 2019 reveals the structure remains in place. No permits were submitted. Junk and debris scattered about the property. So on August the 22nd, a notice of hearing was sent certified mail, return receipt signed for the code board hearing on September 19th of 2019. The original notice of violation, notice of hearing, it did not cite the junk and debris. So I sent an updated notice of violation and notice of hearing, but it didn't go out in time for the code board hearing. We didn't give him proper notice for that. So it was removed for the agenda on that date. And then I went out on extended medical leave. So December 30th, 2019, I did a reinspection, and the property remains in violation. The roof structure on, if you look at the right-hand side, it was changed out to something that looks a little bit more permanent. And the carport is still there. All the junk items still remain under that structure. So on December 30th, a notice of violation, notice of hearing was sent certified mail to the property owner as shown on the property appraiser website. The violations include 1.13.09C, 2.02.09G, 2.02.00B1A, and 7.02.01. And I put the wrong date on there. So as of today, January the 16th, 2020, reinspection shows property remains in violation. No permits have been submitted. So the property remains in violation of 1.1309C, building permits, 2.02.09G, conservation residential development standards, and that's for, the gentleman did call me one day and he told me that he planned on having a flea market twice a month, and I told him that was not going to be allowed on that property. Then he told me he wasn't going to do that, so at this point it looks like it is, so I'll leave it as a violation. 2.02.00B1A, accessory structure, 7.02.01A, junk and litter. It's my recommendation that the code board determine that the address of 480 Mussett Bayou Road is located within the unincorporated area of Walton County and is subject to the Walton County Code of Ordinances. That proper notice of hearing was given to the respondent, that a violation of the Walton County Land Development Code Sections 1.1309C, 2.02.00B1A, 2.02.09G, and 7.02.01A does exist on the property, that the respondent is to correct the violations within 30 days of the date of this order, and the respondent is further ordered to contact the Walton County Code Enforcement Department to arrange for reinspection of subject property to verify compliance with this order. That if the respondent fails to comply with the above actions or fails to bring the property into compliance with the applicable codes, ordinances, and regulations according to this order, that the board assess a fine of $100 per day per violation until the property is brought into compliance.
Okay. Anybody got questions?
So the 2.02.009B1A, general standards and requirements for accessory structures. No, I'm sorry. 2.02.09G, conservation residential special development standards. Is that the one that you said was your, I guess, the assumed violation if he was to have a flea market?
Yes, it's conducting
But he
commercial
hasn't
on.
had one.
No, but he told me he was going to.
Well,
So
can we really call it, can we really call that a violation? If he hasn't had one unless there's
I did not witness a flea market activity going on.
Right, right.
So,
But it's still, I mean, junk and debris till he's done having
Yes,
the
sir.
flea market,
yes.
I would think.
He said twice a month. I don't know what days of the week.
But we don't have any documentation other than him saying he was going to or he did.
I believe he said he was planning on doing that.
All right. Just technicality, I guess.
You can, no. Okay, any other questions? All right, then I'll accept Officer Reichert's testimony and presentation into evidence. And is there anyone here, Mr. Smith or Mrs. Smith, to speak to the other side? If not, then we're going to close the public part of the hearing. So closed. And
I move we accept the Officer Riker's recommendation.
I'd like to, I think Dave's point's a good one, though. I think we ought to strike 20209G.
Yeah, let's strike that. I agree with that. Also amend we'll strike the 3 violations as we so ordered. Was
No,
that
the one,
201?
we'll strike the one and
The one
preserve the
violation.
3.
Is
Yeah,
that 2.1?
that's 2.09G.
2.0209G. G, and we're gonna accept 202B, we'll accept 202A, and we'll accept 1.1309.
Except it's 201A, yes. Okay, and if not, there's a $100 fine after 30 days.
Per violation.
Okay, second? Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? The motion carries. All right, we're not going to stop now. Number 5, 1700136, Officer Reichert. No. Officer Rose. Oh.
We say Laird Road, we know where it is, you know. It's everywhere. I thought you were gonna say just past so-and-so's house.
All right, gentlemen, thank you. For the record, my name is Officer Kurt Rose, Walton County Code Enforcement. This is case number 17001363. Property owner is Thomasino Waldera at 320 Laird Road in Freeport. This is a violation of 11.0402, building permits required. 11.0402 building permits basically state no erection, alteration, or reconstruction of any building or structure shall be commenced without first obtaining a building permit from the building official. This one is going to look familiar in a moment. This has to do with a pole barn being constructed on Laird Road. This actually came before the board back in March of last year, and it actually was found in violation. And then on May, we came back for a second hearing, and that's when the previous owner stated that he had quitclaimed the property to his wife, and that it actually happened prior to the case coming to the board the first time, so this reset the clock for all intents and purposes. So this is a recap of what had happened there as far as dates for the notice of hearing originally. The notice of violation posting back in 2018. If you recall, instead of getting his permits, he went ahead and poured a slab at the bottom of the pole barn. The picture with the slab there. This is posted for the notice of hearing back from February of 2019. Leading up from the initial complaint all the way up to the notice of hearing, the timeline. The hearing was held on March 21st, 2019 originally. That hearing final order is now no good because the property actually changed hands prior to that. On 5/16 at the hearing in 2019, the result was a continuance due to the fact that it was quitclaimed to Thomasino Waldera, the spouse. Immediately after that hearing, or there soon after, an application was submitted to the planning department for the planning review. The planning did approve an actual home on the property as well as the pole barn. That pole barn approval was done on August 28th, 2019. However, it never got submitted to the building department for permits. From 9/3 of 2019 until 10/21 of 2019, I attempted multiple attempts to contact the respondent. I got no response. I called, left voicemail messages, emails. I was getting no response again, which was the same that happened the last time. On 12/3, a notice of hearing was sent out certified mail to the property owner of record. I confirmed that the ownership was the same with the clerk of court's website prior to sending out the notice of hearing. I also posted the subject property. I posted the known address of the property, which was 320 Laird Road, and I also posted the South Walton Annex building to ensure that the notice of hearing was everywhere. Here's the photographs of the postings in the various locations as stated. Once again, time frame 5/16 of 19, where the original hearing results we found out. August 28th got planning approval of 2019. September 3rd of 2019 to 10 of 21, no contact, no response. And then 12/3 was postings for this hearing this month. As of today, I have not spoken to anyone in regards to it since that last altercation as stated there, or that last from the planning department's aspect. And I did confirm with building department this morning that there still have been no permits applied for that parcel. The only permit they have is a temporary power pole permit. So at this time, I'd like my recommendations. The vacant parcel located on Laird Drive, located within an unincorporated area of Walton County, is subject to Chapter 11.0402 of the Walton County Land Development Code. Proper notice was given of this hearing to the respondent. A violation of Walton County Land Development Code 110402 does exist on the property. The respondent is to correct a violation within 30 days of the date of this order. The respondent is further ordered to contact the Walton County Code Enforcement Department to arrange for a reinspection of the subject property to verify compliance of this order. If the respondent fails to comply with the above actions or fails to bring the property into compliance with applicable codes, ordinances, and regulations according to this order, the board assesses a $250 a day fine until the property is brought into compliance.
And he can come in, she can come into compliance if she gets a building permit.
By obtaining a building permit, correct.
And how long you want to give her?
30 days.
30 days. They've had several months. I mean, realistically, since the beginning of this, they've had since, March of 2019. But in
Right.
the act of fairness to keep things consistent with our case and our final orders, I will allow for another 30 days on this, on the final order. And if it's not completed, then that's their reasonable time as well exhausted.
I think I know the answer to this, but is there any way this can be construed as a repeat violation?
It is not.
No?
The original violation, when it came down to it, ultimately didn't, that's why the final order didn't stick, is because the property changed hands. So that final order originally
Okay,
was
well,
null and
that
void.
makes
It doesn't work because the property changed hands.
That was a legal tactic.
So,
Okay. Thank
Any
you,
other questions?
Officer Rose. I'll accept your evidence and testimony
Thank
into the
you.
record. Any discussion, or somebody want to make a motion? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
30 days, I'm waiting on my engineer to stamp it, but it's already been approved.
Okay, well, all you gotta do is bring us back a building permit.
Yeah, I'm just
and
waiting on him to stamp it.
It'll go away. Okay.
All right, thank you.
What we
Am I
want to
done?
hear.
You're a patient woman, yeah. Okay.
All right.
We'll move it.
I'll move to
we're
accept
gonna-
Officer Rose's findings and recommendations and hope for the best.
All those in favor of the motion? Aye. Motion carries. Now you can leave.
All right.
Okay, any further business? If not, a motion to adjourn would be entertained.
moved.
And a second? We are adjourned.
This was a good choice. You want to fish or cross?
Wanna-
On the pen?
Oh,